Very good morning dear students. Welcome back to the class. This video is for class 10th subject science chapter number 13, that is magnetic effects of current, and this is lecture number 5. So dear students, in our previous lecture we have studied about the magnetic field due to a current carrying solenoid. And in today's topic we are going to study the force on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. So dear students, as we all know that electric current produces a magnetic field in a conductor, and this field produced exerts a force on a magnetic material or magnet placed near the conductor carrying the current. And we know why it happens, because when current flows in a conductor, then magnetic field is produced around the conductor, and when this magnetic field of the conductor interacts with the magnetic field of any magnetic material, then there is a force which exerts on the magnetic material. But as we all know that force is a quantity which is exerted in equal and opposite direction always, and force is never exerted on a single object. So when the magnetic field produced around a conductor can interact or can move the magnetic material or a magnet, then for sure the magnetic field of the magnetic material or the conductor itself can move the conductor as well, because force can never act on a single object, and when force is acting on the magnetic material or magnet because of the interaction of the magnetic fields of the conductor and the magnetic material, or you can say magnet. So when this is happening, then for sure there must be a force in reverse direction, and which is in equal magnitude as well. One scientist, Andre Marie Ampere, he suggested that this force exerts an equal and opposite force at the conductor also. Because we know that force is always exerted on two objects in two directions and is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. This force can be attractive or repulsive, but it will always be in two directions. For example, here is the force and it is exerting a force of repulsion between two objects. Then it will act in this direction and in this direction. From this side it is pulling away one object and it is pulling away the second object, but it can never act on a single object, because we know that there is a rule, or you can say the law of motion, that there is always a force exerted on the reverse direction as well, or you can say that is third law of motion, that there is equal and opposite reaction for every action. So when force is applied, so the same amount of force will be applied back in the reverse direction. So for understanding that how the force is exerted on the conductor because of the magnetic field produced around it, one activity is there in your NCERT book, which is activity number 13.7, and in this activity the setup provided to us is this. So dear students, just pay attention here that we are having a stand, and here we are having an aluminium strip, and this aluminium strip is connected with the help of the wires, conducting wires, with the battery. One terminal is connected with the negative terminal, and one is connected to the positive terminal. And there is one horseshoe magnet. Why we are taking horseshoe magnet? Because here we want to see the effect of the uniform magnetic field of the magnets, so that we can understand that what is the effect of the uniform magnetic field, and how we represent the magnetic field by the parallel lines. And to obtain this magnetic field, we can have north pole of a magnet and south pole of a magnet near to each other, because we know that from north pole the magnetic field lines emerges and they enter into south pole. So always there will be the parallel lines between the north and south pole placed together. So this uniform field can also be obtained with the help of the horseshoe magnet, which is having a north and south pole arranged in the similar manner. So here in this experiment, what we are doing, we will pass the current through the aluminium strip. So when we close the key, then the current passes from positive terminal of the battery to negative terminal through this aluminium strip. So the direction of the current will be this. Current enters the aluminium strip here, travels from here, and then it goes to negative terminal of the battery. That means current is flowing in the aluminium strip. Then for sure there will be a magnetic effect, or you can say magnetic field produced around the conductor, and this magnetic field will also interact with the magnetic field of the horseshoe magnet. So what will happen here? Whether there will be repulsion or attraction, this depends on the direction of current. So now the current is flowing in this direction. If we apply right hand thumb rule to this, so our curled fingers will tell us the direction of the magnetic field. So they will go down and then they will come up. So this would be the direction of the magnetic field. Now we will have to understand that this magnetic field produced around the straight conductor, which is the aluminium strip here, is having a magnetic field. As this is straight conductor, so there will be concentric circles around the conductor, and this magnetic field, when interacts with the magnetic field lines of the horseshoe magnet, then as this is acting, so here this pole of the aluminium strip will behave as the north pole, and there will be two things, that once it behaves as a north pole and once it behaves as a south pole. So the magnetic field interaction will cause it to move towards the left of mine and once towards the right of mine. Because of the interaction, or you can say once attraction will happen, when the magnetic field attracts towards this magnetic field, then this strip will move in the horseshoe magnet, and when it gets repelled, then it will come out. So what was done after this, that this strip was almost done in linear position and the current passed through it. So when the current passed through it, the force which was exerted on the conductor because of the magnetic field of the horseshoe magnet, or the interaction between the two magnetic fields of conductor and the horseshoe magnet, then this force, or you can say the deflection towards the left or right, was the maximum. So this was concluded that when the conductor is placed perpendicular to the magnetic field, then the force produced is maximum. Now, how to get the direction of the force? This was given by Fleming's left-hand rule. What is Fleming's left-hand rule? Fleming's left-hand rule is used to find the direction of the force, or in which direction the motion will get produced. So in this rule, this symbol you have to make if you have been asked to explain the Fleming's left-hand rule. What this Fleming's left-hand rule says, let us see the definition first. It says that stretch your left hand in such a way that the thumb, first finger and the central finger are mutually perpendicular to each other. So this is our left hand. So this is how you have to do your left hand, thumb, first finger and central finger. You have to stretch them like that they are perpendicular to each other. You can see here that my central finger is perpendicular to both my thumb as well as my first finger. My first finger is perpendicular to both and my thumb is also perpendicular to both. You can see it here. So we have to stretch our thumb, first finger and the central finger in this way that they are mutually perpendicular to each other. Now, if the first finger points the direction of magnetic field, central finger points the direction of the current, then the thumb will point in the direction of the force, or you can say the direction of motion will be detected with the help of the direction of the thumb. So dear students, here I have drawn three mutually perpendicular lines which are representing the field, current and the motion. So here the first finger represents the magnetic field, direction of the magnetic field, and the central finger represents the direction of the current. Then the thumb will represent the direction of the motion. So you can also remember it by father, mother, child. You can write it as taking F from the field, make it father, motion, M, mother, current, C, child. So father, mother, child rule, you can also remember it this way. So dear students, look at it that I have tried to represent the directions at my left hand only. So here I have stretched my thumb, first finger and central finger in such a way that my first finger is representing the direction of the magnetic field, central finger is representing the direction of the current, and my thumb is pointing in the direction of the motion which will get produced when the magnetic field of the conductor and the magnetic material gets interact. Now let us understand that what is the effect of various factors on the force. So first is the magnetic field strength. Magnetic field strength, the force or you can say the motion will be more in amount, or the deflections will be more if the magnetic field strength is more. That means magnetic field strength is directly proportional to the force or the motion. Then second is current. Higher the amount of current, higher is the force produced. And the third is per unit length, or you can say the length of the conductor matters. Longer the length of the conductor, higher will be the force produced. So length is also directly proportional to the force. Combining these two equations, we get force is directly proportional to B, I and L. Remove this proportionality constant, put a constant K, B, I, L. So when K is 1, this force becomes B, I, L. And when unit current is flowing through the unit length of the conductor, then the force becomes equal to the magnetic strength of the conductor or the magnetic field produced around the conductor. So we can say that magnetic field strength is defined as the force acting per unit current per unit length of the conductor placed perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field, because we have seen that this is the angle which matters, that we have the uniform magnetic field, but when the conductor is placed perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field, then only the maximum force or maximum motion is obtained. And when this angle is less, when I turn my conductor in this way, then the amount of force will also get reduced. And when this becomes parallel to the magnetic force lines, magnetic field lines, then this force becomes 0. The SI units of the magnetic field strength are Tesla. We can also find out the dimensions as we have F is equal to B I L. So B becomes F by I into L. Force Newton, I in ampere, and length is measured in meter in SI units. So what the dimensions become? Newton per ampere per meter. In CGS, the magnetic field strength is measured in Oersted, but it is not generally used, but for your information I am telling you. But many times we have seen that when we talk about the conductor and the magnetic field, then if a moving charge is entering, because what happens that charges are always moving in the conductor, in the magnetic field, or when the magnetic field is produced around a conductor because of the motion of the charges and because of the effect of the magnetic field, the motion of the charged particle is circular. So they move in a circular motion with constant speed in the direction of current. So when a moving charged particle enters the magnetic field, then we can also find out the derivation for it. So we have F is equal to BIL, but we know that I is equal to the charge per unit time. So we can put the value of I is into this equation. By putting this equation, we get BQ by T into L. So this T, if I am writing it over L, then also this equation is same. But now this is giving us a important information, that distance covered per unit time is known as the velocity of the particle which is moving. So here we are relating the force produced with the velocity of the particle which is moving. So this is how you have to understand that F is also equal to BQV when we are talking about a moving charged particle. And the charged particle will always move in a circular motion at a constant speed. Now, as we have studied that the current flowing in a conductor produces a motion in the conductor. So this phenomena is used in various devices or electrical devices like electric fan, electric lifts, mixer grinder, radios, tape recorders, televisions. So many of the devices use the phenomena of force get produced. Or what do you do when you enter in a summer hot day in your home? So first thing that you do is switch on the fan. When you switch on the fan, it starts rotating. So what is that which makes the fan rotating? Because you have just applied the current. So remember, the applied current produces the motion. And that is why the fan starts rotating. Now let us understand that how, because we have studied that a straight conductor is moving either left or right in the influence of the force exerted in the magnetic field on it. So how this motion is getting converted into rotatory motion, that we have to see. So let us discuss one important electrical device, that is electric motor. To understand the rotatory motion of any motor. What is electric motor? Because this is an electrical device. So whenever this question is asked in the paper to you, then it will be asked that what is electric motor? Explain its principle, its construction and its working. So first we should know that what is electric motor? Electric motor is a device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Because here we are providing the current, and because of the current, motion is produced, which is mechanical energy, by which we do some work. So electric motor is a device that converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. It is based on the principle that the current carrying conductor placed perpendicular to the magnetic field experiences a force. And on the basis of this principle, we will make the motor rotate and it will produce the mechanical energy. Now let us see the construction of the electric motor. So in the construction of the motor, we have 5 parts: armature coil, magnet, split rings, brushes and battery. Now first is the armature coil. Armature coil is a single loop of an insulated copper wire in the form of a rectangular loop, this way. Why we are taking it? Because if we take a single straight conductor, then only a straight motion, either left or right, will be produced. But we want to rotate it. So we want to act the force in the couples. So for that we are taking the rectangular coil, armature coil. This is made up of insulated copper wire. Then second is magnets. To produce the strong magnetic field, we need a strong magnet. Then the third is split rings, or you can call it as split ring commutator. It consists of 2 halves of D shape. This commutator is having 2 half D-shaped split rings, which are called R1 and R2, to which the 2 ends of the armature coil will be connected. And this commutator is used to reverse the direction of the current. Then we have brushes. Actually, these are carbon brushes. These are simply the brushes to convey the current to the commutator, and this is placed here near the split rings in both the sides. This is just like a toothbrush which is attached to this, and when our commutator is rotating, then only commutator will rotate, but the carbon brushes will be in contact with the commutator, and these carbon brushes will convey the current to the split rings, and through the split rings the current will go to the armature coil. Then we have the battery to generate the current in the electrical circuit. Now let us see how it is constructed using all these parts. So, by arranging the various parts explained just now, we have the motion of the, or you can say the construction of the magnetic electric motor. Here you can see that north and south poles are there, and you can understand that how I have taken the north and south poles to produce the magnetic field. You can take a big horseshoe magnet which can produce strong magnetic field, or you can take two bar magnets placed in such a way that north of one is heading towards the south of the other, and this way they will produce a magnetic field which is uniform, because from the north the magnetic field lines emerges and they enter into the south, and when this distance is kept short, these lines will be almost straight. Then we have our armature coil, which is named as A, B, C, D, which is having two ends, and these two ends are connected with the R1 and R2 respectively. With the R1, brush B1 is connected, with the R2, brush B2 is connected, and these are connected with the battery. So this is how the construction of electric motor is done. Now with the help of this diagram, we have to understand the working of electric motor. Now we know that, so dear students, to understand the working of electric motor, here I have a cardboard on which I am making my armature coil. To understand this in a better way. So here I have the positive and negative terminal of the battery, and this is my armature coil named as A, B, C and D. So if I have the magnetic field around it, which is, here I have the south pole, here I have the north pole. So this is according to you, that you can have the north and south poles at any side. But if you have this situation, then the magnetic field lines will be in this direction. They will emerge out from the north and will enter to the south. So when you are having in such a situation that magnetic field is emerging out from north and south, and the current is passing from the A to B, then C and D. Now the current direction is this. Now just understand with the help of the Fleming's left hand rule that when we arrange our first finger, current and the thumb in such a way that if I rotate my diagram to make you understand the Fleming's left hand rule applied on AB arm first. So here I have aligned my first finger in the direction of the magnetic field from north to south, and AB arm is showing the direction of the current. So it is flowing from A to B. Now my thumb will give the direction of the motion in the arm AB. So when I talk about it, what will happen? The AB arm will move or will experience a upward force. So it will move up. And when I see the current in the CD arm, then if I apply the left hand thumb rule, Fleming's left hand thumb rule, then I'll have to reverse my hand, because this now becomes the direction of the current. This is the direction of the magnetic field. Then my thumb will point the direction of the magnetic motion or the force produced, the motion. So this will be downward. So you can understand that on AB arm, upward force is acting, and on CD arm, downward force is acting. You must be thinking that why I am not considering the BC and AD arm. So just remember that when the current flows parallel to the magnetic field lines, the magnetic force produced, experienced by the conductor is 0. Remember the angle, it is 0. So magnetic force produced will also be 0. So BC and AD arm will get no force experienced. Now here a couple of force is acting on arm AB and DC. So accordingly the arm AB will move up, and because of the force, couple force acting, this will happen. And this will happen till the AB comes here and the CD comes here. Now what will happen? So CD is here now and AB is here. Then one important thing to understand at this stage is that if the commutator is not having the split ring type D-shaped split rings, then this positive terminal which is connected to the battery, positive terminal of the battery, and goes to the armature AB. If AB arm is moving, then this connection will also move, and this will create that the AB arm will first move in this way, and because of the connection of the positive terminal here, now the current will flow in this direction. So accordingly it will move upward force, and this will experience a downward force. So this will come back to its position. So that means after a half a rotation, AB will come to its position. But this will not work. So these split rings help us to connect, to change the terminals of the battery as the movement of the armature coil takes place. So this is the purpose of using split rings. So now when CD comes on the place of AB and AB comes on the place of CD, the same thing will happen. The current will flow in this direction. So this will exert a upward direction force, and AB will now exert a downward force. So this will again move in this direction. Now it will become AB, and here it will become CD. So this will experience now upward force because current is flowing in this direction, and here the current is flowing in this direction. So it will again move a rotatory motion. So this is how an armature coil is moving in the effect of the magnetic field of the magnets and when the current is flowing through it. So this is how the rotatory motion takes place in the armature coil. So this is how we are converting the electrical energy into mechanical one. Now, what is the use of getting conversion of electrical energy to mechanical one, or to have this rotatory motion? So this rotatory motion is used in, or you can say the uses of the electric motor are that Electric motors are used in electric cars, rolling mills, electric cranes, electric lifts. They are also used in drilling machines, electric fans, hair dryers, tape recorders and blowers. They are also used in centrifugal machines like mixers, blenders, refrigerators and washing machines. So these were the uses of electric motor. Now let us see today's homework. So as today we have discussed the force on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field and the electric motor. So you have been given the in-text questions related to these topics. So in-text questions at page number 231 are, so your first question is, which of the following property of a proton can change while it moves freely in a magnetic field? There may be more than one correct answer. A. Mass, B. Speed, C. Velocity and D. Momentum. Second question for you is that in the activity 13.7, how do we think that the displacement of the rod AB will be affected? First case, current in AB is increased. Second, a stronger horseshoe magnet is used. That means I and B are increased in both the cases respectively. Third, length of the rod AB is increased. So what will be the effect on the displacement? That means you have to describe the factors which affect the motion or the force produced in the rod AB. Question number 3 is, a positively charged particle, alpha particle, say, projected towards the west of the deflection towards north by a magnetic field. The direction of the magnetic field is towards south, B towards east, C downwards, D upwards. Third question is, state Fleming's left-hand rule. Fourth question is, what is the principle of an electric motor? Fourth and fifth. So sixth question for you is, what is the role of the split ring in an electric motor? So these 6 questions are your homework for this lecture. Now let us see the homework solutions of lecture number 4. So in lecture number 4, you were having one of the questions. That first question was, choose the correct option. The magnetic field inside a long straight solenoid carrying current is 0, decreased as we move towards its ends, increases as we move towards its end, or is the same at all the points. So option D is the correct answer, because inside a solenoid the magnetic field is almost uniform. So it is same at all the points. And why it is uniform, that we have understood. And the question number 2 of lecture number 4 was, explain the clock face rule while finding the direction of the magnetic field around the solenoid. So we have to talk about the clock face rule in case of solenoid. So dear students, if we talk about the clock face rule in a solenoid, so we know that in a solenoid the current is flowing through a long solenoid form, that is pipe shaped or cylindrical shaped conductor, which is made by twisting a single conductor in circular motion and by making number of circular loops. Now if we see, if the current is entering in this direction and we are at this phase of the solenoid, so this would be the first loop that we see from this side. So according to clock face rule, now the current is flowing in this direction. This is what? A clockwise direction. And when we do the clockwise rotation, clockwise direction current flows, then we know that current first flows up and then goes down. So if I take the circular loop as the 2 segments of the straight conductor and I join them with the line, that this forms a word shaped S, which means that this face of the clock is behaving as the south pole of the bar magnet. This is one of the methods to remember that what is the pole which the solenoid faces behave as when the current is flowing through the solenoid. So when the current is flowing in clockwise direction, that face of the solenoid behaves as the south pole of the bar magnet. And when we are at this face, so we know that current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction. And when the current is flowing anti-clockwise direction, then first it goes up in this way and then it goes down if we take this circular loop in two segments. And if I join these two ends to make it a single conductor, then it forms a word N. We also have a method that this is anti-clockwise flow of current, and in the word anti we have N. So this will behave as the north pole of the bar magnet. So this is how the clock phase rule works. So in the next lecture, we'll discuss the electromagnetic induction and the electric generator. So till then, take care and goodbye.